What's up, guys? Cage here, and today we have to talk about Mafia The Old Country. All the discussion. All right, it's gonna be pretty crazy. I'm prepared with my The Godfather's Sopranos themed T-shirt because we really got to get into the latest entry of the Mafia franchise, and this is my most anticipated game of 2025 easily. It outcompeted RoboCop Unfinished Business. All right, it outcompeted Dying Light, The Beast, and those are also two of my most anticipated games. But this is the game that was like my game to look forward to this year. I built a whole brand new PC for it. All right, just so I could play this game without restriction. And was it worth it? That's what we have to talk about. But real quick, guys, if you guys want no discussion at all, you just want to recommend or no recommendation from me before you go out and buy it. Well, if you're a longtime Mafia fan, to me, it's a wait for a sale. If you are into cinema slop video games, it's a buy. This'll hold your hand right to the end. I mean, not all right, I'm exaggerating, but if this is cinema slop for sure. All right, if you like the PlayStation cinema slop bullshit normie games, this is definitely for you. If you're looking for an action-packed game that Mafia franchise is known for, being Mafia 1 and 2, if you're looking for like action gunplay, all that stuff, I can't say this is for you, man. This is probably a no recommend because there ain't too much to that in here. I'm sad to have to say. So that's just my general thoughts to those who don't really want all the extra level of discussion of the game. You just want to recommend or no recommend. That's the way I see it for you guys out there. All right, now if you want some details without spoilers, this is it. This part of the portion of the review. All right, I'll leave the spoilers toward the end, and I will let you guys know when we start to dive into spoilers and whatnot. But first off, we have to get into the visuals of the game. Visually, this game is absolutely fucking gorgeous. All right, dude, the lighting in this game, so sexy, so fucking sexy. The clothing that the characters wear, so much detail, man. All the little things. The nooks and crannies of this game, some of it looks absolutely gorgeous, man. It is a rather linear game. I mean, obviously you end up driving around Sicily and all that, going to different areas and stuff. When you're just traveling, oh my god, dude. The horses look so beautiful, the characters and their details so beautiful, so well done. It looks masterfully crafted from a visual perspective. A lot of these characters' facial features, man, especially when they're in the middle of acting. Oh my god, dude. And let's just get into the acting real quick. All the main characters, and I played in English, their acting is phenomenal, right? They did, facial capture for the characters as well, all that stuff, and it really shows. These actors took this script and they really did something with it. Their acting is absolutely phenomenal. Their delivery so good. Even if they'll sprinkle in some like Italian terms and Sicilian terms, and despite me not really knowing much about the language, the way that they're communicating these terms and the way that they're having these discussions, you know what's being said, even without actually legitimately knowing. But all their acting down from their facial features, their movements, the way that they're saying these particular lines, it is all really well done. Even some of the lesser important characters in this game, they even do a great job. The performances from these actors is absolutely standout. Enzo's actor, phenomenal. Isabella, all of them. Don Teresi, I think, is phenomenal in the game. Even Cesare, Luca, Tino, they all let you know off rip where they stand and how they are, and really good at it. But to get into the game performance, so for me, I was playing this on PC, and mind you, I played this to completion. Live streaming it on my PC. I will have the playlist of the whole playthrough in the description below. If you want to see my moment-to-moment thoughts on the game, it was an interesting playthrough, to say the least. But the game performance, mind you, I built a 4080, RTX 4080, 9800 X3D, 64 gigs RAM. So I have a very powerful PC. And even then, streaming the game, I mean, I put on DLSS. Mind you, I had DLA on as well. So we're talking about 8K textures being, down, your resolution kind of put down. But the performance for me was decent, but this is a heavy fucking game. If you, dude, you need a powerful PC for this. It's sad to say that, but you really do. And I'm hearing across the board that this game's performance is a little rough. It's like it's not awful. Like it performs, right? But everyone could tell that this is a very heavy game. It's very taxing no matter where you're playing it on. So, if you have a very powerful PC, this game is gonna look sexy as fuck. But I don't really know how it's gonna play for people that are like in the mid-tier range. And my heart goes out to y'all out there, man, because these Unreal Engine 5 games are absolutely like destroying PCs. And really, they just don't. It's sad to say, because I see the vision with Unreal Engine 5, but a lot of these devs are kind of trying to force people to upgrade their PCs, and this is not the upgrading time period. Like, this is unacceptable. You know what I mean? Like, we know what the landscape of gaming is right now in terms of pricing. Prices of consoles and PCs are going up, and it's nasty work, man. Just to get your hands on a graphics card, it's very nasty work, and this is not the time period to upgrade. So the fact that they're kind of pushing gamers towards upgrading in this current landscape, I think is kind of despicable. But overall, the game performance, it's stable, but it's heavy. So take from that what you will. Obviously, I have a higher tier PC than most other people do, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I know that basically I'm going to have a way better experience than, unfortunately, a lot of other people will. Like I said, the game holds a steady pace, but it's heavy, so take from that what you will. Now, the setting of the game. Dude, Sicily is so pretty, man. That's what had me super excited for this game in general. We're going to Sicily. I remember watching The Equalizer 3 just like a year or two ago with Denzel, and that game took place in Italy, and I was just so floored by the setting of the film, the visual aesthetics. That's why when they were like, yeah, Mafia, The Old Country is going to take place in Sicily, I was so excited because I knew these landscapes are going to be gorgeous. The setting, it's going to be beautiful, and they really hold true to that, like tenfold, man. The setting couldn't, in my opinion, I don't think it could get any better than this. I love it, especially with the particular lighting that they have to this game. It is so beautiful. When we were live streaming it, everyone was just floored by the visuals. And mind you, YouTube severely hinders the visual quality of live streams and just videos. So you're not even going to see like the level of beauty there is to this game unless you play it yourself, unless you're playing on a decent rig or whatever have you, right? So you're not really going to have that level of experience just watching on YouTube. But I could tell you, man, I was absolutely in love with the setting of this game. I'm so happy that they did take it to Sicily, to the origin of the Cosa Nostra, right? And I dude, can't say enough about it. So now we have to talk about, let's get music out of the way. I think that the composition of this game fits in perfectly with the setting. All right, it's very old school. It almost feels like it fits in with the Godfather, composition. They did a hands off to the composer, man. It fits in perfectly with the setting. The vibes are like it's like subtle, smooth. It's like drinking like like Captain and Coke that's been mixed to perfection, right? Where it's like it feels nice and smooth going down. I love it. But to get into just the pacing of the game, and this is where it kind of starts to go a little bit negative. The pacing of this game in the beginning, if you prefer gameplay in video games, because we're playing video games at the end of the day, right? The first half of this game feels like a movie entirely, right? This feels it's just not enough gameplay, and there's just so much stealth in this game. It is awful. Like it feels like I'm chained up most of this game. Like I'm not allowed to like let loose and just pop, 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 pop. Like, dude, this is what Mafia is known for. Like just popping off, bro. You're a mafioso, you're a henchman, you're just popping off, taking money, like, moving up in the world, all that stuff. And you really don't feel like that. It's very much in the game, especially in that first half. Like, it feels like the goal of this game overall was to make like a PlayStation single player normie game and then undercut the market by $50, right? They were just like, let's make it a super flashy, like high quality PlayStation single player game. And just make it look super visually appealing. Make all these cinema transitions from gameplay to cutscene, which I think was such a negative detriment because this game does everything possible to try and rip the controller out of your hand when it's gameplay time. For me, I like, bro, take the cutscene. That is the developer's time, right? To have with the game. This is your time for you to tell your story, to give me the narration and all this stuff. That's your time. But when it's gameplay time, respect me as the player when it's gameplay time. Stop ripping the controller out of my hand to show me your fucking cinema transition to cutscenes. Stop trying to show me all these bullshit animations that I couldn't give a single fuck about personally. Like, stop. Respect me as the player when it is gameplay time. Like I don't skip cutscenes because I want to see the developer's vision. Right? That's important to me. I want to see your vision. I want to judge your art by what you were trying to do. But these developers, they chose not to respect me as the player when it came to the gameplay time. Like, it's so annoying. And I'm fairly certain that the entire point was to make normie cinema movie slop and just so it's super flashy and catches the eye of so many people out there, right? Because that's, honestly, I don't think gamers actually like playing video games. They like playing movies nowadays, a lot of them. And yeah, just hit that $50 price tag to make it look way more appealing, right? So they got the normie thing down pat, and then they have, obviously, the price point that's gonna obviously make people more considerate of the game, even if the game is short, right? And I think that really sucks, because I would have rather paid $70 for a game that actually had way more gameplay, a game that respected my time, and a game that respected me as the player instead of trying to tear the controller out of my hand just to show me something that they animated, right? I don't like that personally. So there's that. I wish that there was more gameplay. This game doesn't feel like a Mafia game, honestly, until you get to like chapter 9. And mind you, there's only 14 chapters to the game. Obviously, I'm not giving you guys spoilers here, but there is 14 chapters to the game. I'm not telling you how long it is and whatnot, but you don't actually feel like you're playing a traditional Mafia game up until chapter 9. Now, we're going to get into spoilers at this point, right? Because there's some things that I definitely got to talk about that I have to get off my chest about this game, because this is such a difficult review, because there's a lot of things that I like about this game, and then there's a lot of things that I hate about this game. It's not a clear cut, and this is the reviews I'm more compelled to do, because it is challenging to properly express mixed emotions, because that's what I feel about this game. There's a lot of mixed emotions here that have me like, I'm thinking about this game, right? Because I think that there's a lot of great aspects to it that deserve so much praise. And then there's some things that's like, why the fuck would you do this? Why would you first and foremost like deviate from what a Mafia game is again? Because first and foremost, like I said, this doesn't feel like a Mafia game till chapter 9. And it stops feeling like a Mafia game at chapter 13. Mind you, there's 14 chapters. So that last chapter is fucking rough. Like, super rough, awful garbage. From so many perspectives. From a story perspective, to a gamer's perspective. Off-rip, spoilers. The ending boss fight is fucking awful. It is a stealth boss fight. Oh my god, if you're a fan of Mafia 1 and 2, like, how are you not screaming? You know what I mean? Like, dude, I remember so many great aspects of Mafia 1 and 2 that are just like, especially those endings are fucking insane. Like the build-up, and don't get me wrong, there is build-up here. It just stops at 13 entirely. And I'm not a fan at all. We'll get into more of that toward the end, because I'm going to outright spoil the ending for you guys and give you guys my thoughts on that. All right, so this isn't really a spoiler, but I just have to say this. There's just this random NPC that appears in the game a few times that I noticed. He's just Marlon Brando. Like, outright, it's Marlon Brando. It looks just like him. And if you look around hard enough when you're in some of the main little city areas in this game, you'll see him. And I just thought it was funny that they included that in the game. But to get into more serious, more spoiler-esque things, there is zero sense of like brotherhood and family in this game, from Enzo's perspective. And that's so disappointing to me because this is supposed to be familia. Like you're a part, even when you're a made man, like you never feel a genuine brotherhood connection to any of these characters. The closest you get to is Luca, and Luca is fair with you, right? And that's great that he's fair with you, but he's the best of them all, and he's just simply fair with you. He's the guy that kind of, when you're brought in by the Don, Lucas shows you the ropes. He's straight up with you. He's fair. He gives you your props for, slashing the face of this asshole protagonist. I mean, excuse me, asshole antagonist in the game. And, he's fair, and that's great that he's fair, but he's literally the best of all of them. Tino hates you. Cesare hates you. The Don also is relatively fair with you, but for like the first half of this game, you barely ever see him other than when he takes you in. So it's like, what the fuck is like this game is so awful as a Mafia game and as a general, like from any like mobster movie perspective, right? And I'm going to be doing some spoilers for Mafia 1 and 2 because there requires some comparison here, right? So in Mafia 1, you start off this game where you're just a sitting cabbie dude, Tommy, right? And Sam and Paulie run up on you like, drive this motherfucker, we need to get out of here right now. And basically you save their asses and they pay you, they're thankful. And at first you're confused on if you're going to get knocked off or not because you're involved in a serious situation, but obviously you don't. Like a day later, you end up running back to them for help because you're about to get beat up by some dudes. And guess what? Sam and Paulie, they got your back, man. 100%. And from there on, like, you instantly have this strong connection with these two dudes because you had them in their time of need and they had you in your time of need. And it's like you're almost inseparable from the very start, right? There's this brotherhood amongst family and they bring you in and you have this connection to this group. And then with Mafia 2, it's a similar situation of, the main, your buddy is Joe, and Joe has been your friend since you were a kid. And, after you get caught, unfortunately you get caught, Joe is lucky enough to not get caught by the police. You end up doing time in the military in order to pay for essentially what you did. And when you get out, Joe's got your back off rip. Like at that point, he's just a small time, little mobster guy that's slowly moving up. He's got some respect under his belt, right? But Joe immediately is like, bro, I'm going to take care of you. We're going to move up in this world together. I couldn't find a better person to do it with because you already have this respect. And Joe is the guy. He's like, I'm going to give you like half of everything. Right when you get out, bro, he hooks you up by getting you out the military permanently. He gets you a place. He hooks you up. He shares everything with you off rip. And you go throughout that whole game with this brotherhood, this brothership with Joe. Like, you guys are inseparable. Despite Joe being kind of a little prick in his own ways, like he has his ways about him. He's a very interesting personality trait, right? And even despite that, like, Joe knows you. So when things happen in these Mafia games, like, you really feel it from an emotional level because of these strong connections that you have. But in Mafia The Old Country, like, you start out as a fucking, like, a slave. And this whole entire game, no matter what situation you go through, no matter how you technically move up in the world, you still are treated and you still feel like a slave from Enzo's perspective. Like, you're a slave in the mines. That's how you start out, right? You're, Caruso. And you're called Caruso the whole fucking game, right? And Caruso is like comes off as generally a derogatory term for like a boy that's a mine slaver. Like, like you never move up. You're always treated like you're an outsider. I have no connection to any of these characters. So when things do play out the way that they do over the course of the game, I don't really care. The only time I felt anything, and this is a major spoiler, guys, when Luca dies. When Luca dies, he's like, it sucks because he's the one dude that was fair with you the whole time, that wasn't going out of their way to be disrespectful towards you. He just told you what it was. And, you felt a sense of he treats you like you're on the same level as him because you are. And nobody else treats you like this. Even when you're made, right? Given the Don generally gives this respect to you, but the Don literally throws you off to do some of the most insane fucking missions. That's like, bro, you just want me to die, I'm convinced. Like, Thankfully, Enzo is a fucking one-man military fucking beast. Even though you're forced to do stealth for almost half this fucking game, mind you, which is like such a departure from Mafia games. It's awful. Like the lack of compelling and fun gameplay is fucking awful because most of the time you're spent chained the fuck down, forced to do stealth segments. And trust me, a lot of it is not optional. When you'll always see in the top like left hand of the screen, don't get detected. Like, do not get detected. So you're forced to do stealth for so much of this game, and it's like, bro, like I just want to let loose. I just want to be like, a fucking killing machine. And given you are, but it barely ever. And when you are, it is such a big deal. And it feels like it's like this game tries so hard to feel like a movie, to feel grounded in realism, that it forgets to be fun so much more often. But the Don sends you on these insane missions that's like, you just want me to die. And yeah, he gives you your praise and sees you as like, as a great asset, but that's it. Like, you just feel like you're an asset, not necessarily a brother to not necessarily familia. Even though you're a made man, you just still feel like you're a strong asset to the family, but not an insider of it. Even though you're willing to do all this crazy shit. So when the game plays out, and obviously the main protagonist ends up falling in love with Don Teresi's daughter, and this is established relatively early on. Obviously, they feel the same way about each other, and they go through years of hiding this, and it's crazy that they managed to hide it for as long as they did. But you go through years in this game, and you still don't feel like, from Enzo's perspective and as a player, you still don't feel like you're a part of this family. I feel like there's like there should have been like 3 chapters here to like you be it riding with your homies and doing some main missions to like grow the family. I feel like this game would have been so much better from the perspective of like you're trying to raise up this family to higher status as opposed to just warring with opposition, because that's what this game is. Like, you're warring with this opposition family, and you're just sent off on your lonesome to do a lot of this shit. And it's just like, huh? Cesare, he's supposed to be next in line to be the next Don, and he doesn't really do shit. He's like, he treats you like you're the slave that's supposed to do all this dirty work. And Luca's the one dude that kind of just, he's smooth about what he does, but he gets his hands dirty, and I'm just not at all, I'm not floored by your connection with this family at all. Because there is none. I feel like there could have been like 3 chapters that could have established more of a bond where, your boys got your back and you got their back. I felt like that would have helped this game. So going from, I guess, 14 chapters to like 17 chapters would have helped to establish that connection, because there is no connection. So when the game plays out that like, they finally, Enzo and Isabella plan to run away to America, right? To get away from this death, from all this bad shit. When the family finds out and they turn on you, it feels so goofy. It feels so goofy and I don't feel anything for it because they're acting so heinously, even though you've been a part of their family for years. And it just tells me, like, their reaction just tells me, yeah, we were never familia to begin with. Like, you never actually liked Enzo. You always saw him as a slave boy. When you brought him in to be, a made man, like, it didn't actually mean anything at all. So I could tell all that by how their reaction was. And it just made me hateful of them because I never felt connected to begin with. And so, when all that goes down and they turn on you, it is like, it feels kind of goofy. It's like, I gave you everything. And it's like, but you won't give me your daughter, bitch. Like, and, it's just a weird situation. And for it to play out, and mind you, the major spoiler of the game is that you kill Don Teresi at the end, and then Cesare kills you. Being Enzo. And yeah, that was like none of it felt surprising, right? Things happen in Mafia 1, like Paulie, it felt like it was coming because the plot created like the fallout with Paulie. But with Sam, it was like a different story because Sam was always like that level-headed guy. And when shit goes down in Mafia 1, you're just like, holy shit, like when you got to do what you got to do at the end of that, it's like, fuck, man. And the in Mafia 2, I think that the suspense buildup was so good. Whereas this, like Mafia the Old Country, the suspense buildup was ass. It felt so mediocre. I was not like everything that was going down. It's like, well, I expected that for the most part, right? It did not catch me off guard at all. When Cesare kills Enzo, it's like, Enzo, you're a fucking idiot. Like, honestly, I don't dislike Enzo, but I don't grow to respect Enzo because he just has this naivete to him the whole game. And if you listen to the developers talk about the actor that's portraying Enzo, that was the intention. The intention was to give Enzo this sort of naiveness to him, and the way the actor portrays Enzo, yeah, he does a great job in that. I just don't think that that option was necessarily a good option at all. He just comes off like an idiot. It's like, dude, you've been a part of the mob for like, dude, how many years now? Like multiple years. All right, you grew up being a slave boy in a mine, in a mine. I would feel like he would catch on to how to be as a person relatively quickly, and he wouldn't be very naive, especially going through all these years being a part of, the Cosa Nostra. It's just a very weird position to have. He never feels like he truly comes into his own. And even Isabella, someone who's extremely sheltered, like knows that Enzo is very, very fucking naive. And it's hard to grow to respect someone that doesn't really come into their own and isn't really on the ball. Like Vito, he went through shit early on in his life. He was always on the ball. I instantly respected Vito as a character because he was on the ball. He knew what was going on. He knew the deal. And he could, he was smart. He was resourceful. He was far from naive. The same thing with Tommy. At first, Tommy was quite naive. I mean, he was just a taxi driver, right? But, he sees his opportunity with this family, and he moves in, and then he starts, he grows to learn, and he's respectable, and even mind you, Tommy ends up fucking ratting out, right? You know what I mean? Like, so like, you would think that if you like this family that you would hate Tommy, but no, like the narrative crafts out a character that you completely understand his position and you respect him so much as a character. Whereas with Enzo, he's not very respectable. I think that the acting for him is phenomenal. But the choice of direction for the main protagonist, I think, is just a poor choice. Honestly, it makes Enzo one of the weaker protagonists of the game. And the first thing I was saying to everybody, before this game was coming out, it's like, dude, Enzo has a lot to live up to. Like, even with Mafia 3, dude, as awful as Mafia 3 is in some ways, you can't say that Lincoln Clay is a bad protagonist. He is a phenomenal protagonist, even in a shit video game. You know what I mean? Like he's still up there, a relatively respectable character. And Enzo, I don't disrespect him, but I don't really respect him either. He kind of just feels samey the whole game, despite going through major transition. So yeah, that it's sad that I'm not in love with Enzo as a character. I think he's a handsome guy. I think he's cool. I like his connection between him and Isabella, and I think that that's interesting. But it feels a little silly. It feels like, and this has been done to death. Honestly, this type of narrative, just not so much with with a mafia or just Cosa Nostra style story. This is Romeo and Juliet, my guys. Like it just kind of is what it is. And to get to the end of the game, I don't know, bro. It was trying to do some West Side Story shit. Literally, it's West Side Story. It's Romeo and Juliet, but instead, it's a mob flick, a video game. So take from that what you will. I love West Side Story. Don't get me wrong. It's actually one of my all-time favorite films. Not the bullshit ass remake, the actual original West Side Story. But yeah, this wasn't it for this game at all. Now to get to the end of the game, right? Cesare kills Enzo. You end up playing as Isabella. It's pretty insane. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with this. You play as Isabella and you're trying to run away. And this is the first time you play as a female character in a mafia game. So, um, is it girl boss? No, it's no girl boss bullshit. But she is actually killing Teresi mafiosos. Like, she's sneaking up. Like, it feels like it's explainable. Absolutely. It's still awful. That last chapter is fucking awful. You're forced to play as Isabella. That's how you end the fucking game. Like, you're trying to escape. And obviously, even more major spoilers, Isabella is pregnant with Enzo's child. That's what makes it like, that's what makes everyone, obviously turn on Enzo. Guys, Isabella tells the priest everything. And Tino, which is a dude that I've hated the entire game, he's a fucking piece of shit. He's Don Teresi's like, I'm assuming that he's like, they never say explicitly, but I would assume that he's Don Teresi's like best friend, but also I think sort of like his consigliere. That's kind of what I'm assuming that he was. And Tino finds out from the fucking priest that Isabella basically confesses everything that she's done to. And it's crazy because like the priest is scared of Tino. You would think that he wouldn't have said anything because obviously you fear this family. It feels like, even though, you're the priest of this family for what seemed like many years, right? But you obviously were in fear. And Tino had no idea, at least from what I'm assuming, that he had no idea that Isabella and Enzo were together. What would possess the priest to just outright tell him about that? Because if you value, you value the fact that Isabella's pregnant, if you value that, like if you know how dark the family is, obviously you're mafiosos, why would you snitch? Because then now you know what's going to happen. And that was crazy to me. So like they find out, they want to kill Enzo. They're literally immediately taking Isabella to get fucking to basically get rid of the baby, abort the baby. That was insane. And I kept thinking the entire last chapter of the game, bro, all it takes is a punch to the gut and it's over. Like, you know what I mean? So like the fact that she's doing all this bullshit and the ending boss fight is her having to do a stealth boss fight to kill Tino by stabbing him up multiple times, sneaking up behind him, stabbing up multiple times. It's like, bro, you're literally looking right at her. You're literally going to take her to get an abortion to a doctor. Like, one punch and it's over, my guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt absolutely ridiculous in the grand scheme of things. It was super anticlimactic. The ending is so fucking anticlimactic. It's so awful. The buildup did not feel like there was major legitimacy to it, because I knew what was going to happen, and it didn't feel like it didn't feel like anything. The buildup was really half-assed because I felt no connection to this family to begin with, and so for things to play out the way that they did, it just, I didn't really care. And Isabella's last hope, she doesn't know that Enzo is dead up until Cesare comes there. And Cesare lets her go even though he killed Enzo. So it's like, all right, bro. And it ends off with Isabella going to America. I think that is fucking garbage. This is kind of how I felt at the end of Uncharted 4, but it's like the opposite. It was like in Uncharted 4, I was expecting certain people to die, and when they didn't, it was like super anticlimactic. And then you end up playing as Drake's fucking kid. I was like, at the very end, I'm like, this is some fucking dog shit. Like, Mafia The Old Country tries so hard to be PlayStation movie slop, and it is so awful. And the fact that people like a couple clowns really in the community, right? But Griffin Gaming, it calls it movie slop. Meanwhile, you're a PlayStation meat glazer, my guy. You defend PlayStations through and through. I thought he was gonna jump on the game because it's only $50, because he likes to kind of, take a I have more money than you approach to things, even though he's too afraid to even show his face. So why am I gonna believe that you have money? So that was interesting. You have Nicola's bald-headed ass that's just like, oh, it's a 9 out of 10. It's almost perfection, because he's also a PlayStation meat glazer that loves single player PlayStation movie slop games that practically play themselves. So I'm not surprised that he would like something like this. And plus, he's kind of a cuck. So yeah, the ending when you're playing as a female character, I mean, I'm not surprised that he's defending and glazing that shit up. What a loser. And for him he came into my live stream to talk smack and stuff. So that was kind of funny too. But yeah, I'm not surprised that there's certain people that like this game, given the poor taste that they have. But for me, this is not an awful video game, but there's some awful aspects of it, and it barely feels like Mafia. This feels like it wanted to be a Godfather knockoff. Um, and I'm talking about a movie knockoff, not the games. The Godfather games were definitely more interesting and fun gameplay than this game, because there isn't that much of it. You feel like you're playing a movie most of the time. It would have been nice if there was like choice driven. That would have at least added another aspect to how things play out, like another layer. But from what I've heard, this game has only been in development for 3 years, whereas I thought at first it was in development for 5. But apparently, the studio had some issues for a while. People getting laid off, rehired, stuff like that. That's what I heard. I don't know all the details of that. But this feels like they really tried to put together a really, how do you say, like, a small but condensed package of a game and release that. And I get that, but I feel like the choices made here, some of them were outright fucking awful. And I feel like you could have did more to at least make it feel like a Mafia gameplay style video game. There's too much stealth, there's not enough action. They introduced these mechanics to you, and it's like I didn't even have time to upgrade anything. You're introducing a store that I can upgrade stuff on, but I didn't have time to go back to the store. By the time I had that chance where the story led you back to that area, the game was almost done. It was so weird. There were references made to all 3 Mafia games. All right, Mafia 1. They make direct reference to Salieri. You actually see his rap sheet if you're looking hard enough. In one of the stealth segments, funny enough, they constantly mention Empire Bay, which is where Mafia 2 takes place. And they did happen to make mention of, New Bordeaux? Mafia 3's, Louisiana area. Like, from what I saw, I encountered it once. So they do make reference to all 3 Mafia games. So that was kind of interesting. I think I didn't come across all the references. I'm sure I probably missed out on picking up some things, but yeah, like I said, guys, if you want to check out my playthrough playlist, it's down below in the comment section. So, it's down below in the description if you want to check that out. But yeah, that's been my overall thoughts on Mafia. It's pretty mid, sad to say. So, was it worth building a whole new PC specifically for this game? No. Even if I would have known off rip if it was mid or not, I still would have bought it anyway. I think that the worst thing about this game is that the replayability is not there. For me, I've played through Mafia 1 and 2 what feels like countless times, especially Mafia 2. I've played through that game over 5 times easily over 5 times. Mafia 1 Remake, I've played through that like 4 times already. And, I played the original game on my bullshit ass Dell PC laptop back in the day. And I really enjoyed that game too. But that is kind of the worst thing about this game, is that the replay value is not there. And it's the same. And the crazy thing is, I feel the same way about Mafia 3, but it's for completely different situations. The lack of gameplay and let alone like the lack of compelling gameplay, let alone gameplay entirely, is the worst thing about this game. This game tries so hard to be a grounded film that it completely, in some areas, forgets that it's a video game. And that's the saddest thing of all with this. But yeah, that's just my overall thoughts, unfortunately. I know this is kind of a long review, but I really wanted to give you guys an in-depth discussion about the game. I'm really interested to hear everyone's thoughts on it. And I think I played this game for like over 12 hours. So, I played it at my pace. Obviously, I was streaming it, so I had to not be too boring by any means. But I played it at my pace, and I got like 12 or so hours out of it, if I subtract like the discussions I have in the beginning of my live streams. So, yeah, it is relatively short, but it was more than 10 hours for me. And it's kind of hard to run through the game because you're forced to do stealth segments. And mind you, I played on the hardest difficulty as well, and it wasn't really hard at all. Yeah, I died a few times, but it's easy to make those adjustments and do a better job at the game, especially on a harder difficulty. The NPCs are very aggressive and they run towards you. So it's like, honestly, if you have a shotgun in this game, it's broken as like you're gonna mow enemies down easily. So there's that. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for my overall review of Mafia The Old Country. It is PlayStation knockoff cinema slop. That's pretty much mediocre. It's not awful. It's not good. Mediocre. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about the Mafia game. Were you considering getting it? Did you play through it? How are your thoughts? Did you watch me play it or watch someone else play it? I'm really interested to hear, because this isn't an easy game to review. It's actually very hard. That's why I wanted to do it, because there's just so much, you know, opposing aspects. But yeah, guys, if you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Engagement matters more than anything. So any engagement is very much appreciated. Follow me over on Twitter, Kick, Rumble, all that stuff, at Cult Classic Cage. And yeah, guys, with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.